Hello, my amazing artists. Today we are going to be making a trophy. Boys and girls, we are going to use our clay to create two different sections for our trophy. The bottom, and later, next class, the top, and a ribbon. All right, let's look at how we are going to be making the bottom, which has two parts. It has a rounded base and a column. With your clay, I'd like you to split it into three sections. 1, 2, 3. Now, take two of those sections and put them together. This is the clay that we will use to make our pinch pot, which is the bottom of our trophy. For your pinch pot, start by making your clay into a ball or a sphere of clay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Later we can form it to be a little bit more smooth on the edges. Taking my clay with my fingers like crab claws, we are going to hold our clay and pinch our thumbs together into the inside of our clay, making an indentation. My goal is that I want to keep my thumbs and hands together. When my hands start to go like this, I'm going to start making a pinch plate. I want to make a little pinch pot, so keeping my thumbs together is my tip for success for you. We are pinch, turn the clay, pinch, turn the clay, pinch, pinch, pinch. Pinching is making our clay go wider and larger. As I'm pinching, if there's some places that I feel like my clay is starting to come apart, I can smooth that out by just using my fingers to move the clay. And keep your thumbs together. Pinch, 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 pinch. It's okay if it's a little bit thick because we want the base of our trophy to be nice and sturdy to hold up the rest of our trophy. After you have made your bowl shape, you can go ahead and put it down on your table, and now is time that you can go ahead and smooth out some of the edges. We don't need to use water for this part, just using your finger to move the clay around. Maybe tap your clay to make a smooth and flat base for the bottom, since our bowl is going to be upside down on the ground. All right. I have made this first part of my trophy. I can set it off to the side and use the other section of my clay. For this one, I'm also going to pinch off a little bit. I think I'd like to make a coil that will be put on the seam of those two pieces. With this part of my clay, I'm going to go ahead and roll my clay together in my hands to make a column of clay. I don't want it to be too thin. Tap, 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 tap. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach this column to my pinch pot. Whenever we attach clay together, we don't just put it. No, boys and girls, we need to do two things. We need to take one of the tools at our table, either a pencil or the metal tool, and we need to first scratch. Scratch up your clay, getting it all activated. And the bottom of your column. Scratch, 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 scratch. And now comes the water. Go ahead and dip one finger into the water and apply water to both areas. Now I can go ahead and merge those two pieces of clay together. I like to give it a little bit of a roll around to get that clay all activated and together. Last thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use my little bit of extra clay to make a coil that goes around the outside of my trophy to add some extra detail, making it look like it's ornamental. For this, I find it a little bit easier to do my coil making on my table. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my coil on my desk by using my hands, like I'm pushing a swing, and gently just rolling my clay until it gets longer and consistently thick. This coil will help to disguise this seam of where I put my two pieces together and make it look a little fancier. Let's use our pencil and we're going to scratch up the clay where we're going to put it down. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And use some water. Now I can go ahead and roll my coil around that column. And at the back where it meets together, I can go ahead and pinch, pinch, and combine them. That scratching and adding water is going to guarantee that after my clay is dry, that coil will not come off of my clay. Okay, we have now made the bottom of our trophy, and next class we will continue by making the top and all of the designs that make it look very exciting. Hello, my amazing third graders, and welcome back for our second day of creating our amazing trophy. Last class, we created the base by doing a pinch pot, a column, and a coil. That coil is going to come in handy today as we make our coil pot, which will be the top of our trophy. You will notice that your base has a popsicle stick in it. This will come in handy to make it sturdy and keep our structure together. For now though, you can put that to the side and we are going to be making a long coil to make our top. With your clay, go ahead and pinch it until it is a little bit of a longer tube of clay. Now, on our desk, we are going to use our hands together to roll it until it is a nice, consistent, long coil. Gently spread your fingers as you're rolling your coil. We don't want there to be any skinny parts and chubby parts of our coil, but everything together. Rolling your hands apart will make it longer. Okay, I have a nice long coil of clay. It's okay if yours is a bit shorter because we can always add more coils to make our work taller. What we are going to start with is first take one end and we're going to make a circle. Mrs. Shorjan gave you back your base so that you can estimate just about how big you need to make that circle. We want it to not be any bigger than the base of our trophy so that it doesn't become wobbly. Once you've got the base circle made, now we're going to start layering up our work to become like an ice cream cone. To do this, we need to scratch and add water to our coils. Take your pencil, scratch, scratch, scratch the top of your coil. I love how I made my coil thick enough, about the width of my pinky, so that I can start to build my clay on top of itself. Take water, and I'm glad I scratched, and now I can start to layer my coils up like a snail shell. Once you get to the other side of your coil, and you've scratched and added water, it's time to do that again. Scratch, 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 scratch. Big grumpy scratches in our clay will help that clay to stay together. Add water, and now continue to layer your coil. We want our coil to kind of fall in a bit like a cone shape. So if you're building it too much on top of each other, it will not get to be that cone. Okay, I've got my third layer. Time to do that again. Scratch, add water. if you run out of coils at any point, so let's say I'm almost out of coil, I've finished my coil, now I need to make more. Take more clay, roll another coil, and we can continue to add it on top. Last part, I just close it up on top of itself and merge all that clay together because we're going to end up putting our coils directly on top of our base. Because as we flip it over, we are then going to go ahead and start to smooth the inside of our coils. Rest it in your hand, and I'd like you to use your finger to try and merge the clay coils together on the inside of your pot. This will help create security, but also make it look more like a trophy with that smooth cup inside. Notice how I'm not pinching my clay. We remember that pinching from day one meant that our clay was going to get bigger and taller and wider. For this one, we want to use our finger to swipe down the clay inside and towards the base of our cup. All right, now that you have your top of your trophy, it's time to attach it to our base. Let's scratch up some of that place, scratch up some of this one, add some water, and poke it down onto your popsicle stick. Your popsicle stick should hopefully not pop out of your cup, but if it does, we will add a little ball of clay on top of that place at the bottom. Fantastic! We have our trophy. Now it's time for you to go ahead and add some details. Maybe you would like to add a coil around the base here. Maybe you'd like to try and add some handles. And maybe you'd try to add an award, a ribbon on the front of your trophy.